everybody, Merry Christmas in July. Today is Saturday. That means it's time for family movie night. And today we're having our last Christmas in July review for family movie night this year. And we are talking about the 2019 film Klaus. And this went to Netflix and it was nominated for Academy Award. It was very beloved. We've talked about it on Obscure Animation. I've reviewed it once before on my channel. So we've had lots of coverage, but not for family movie night. So I'll put links down to all of that if you want to check it out. This was the creation of Sergio Pablos, an animator, and I love his unique visual style. I love the way that he uses light and color throughout the film, especially at the beginning where everything is dark and the whole town is fighting, and then as they start to learn to read and they start to connect with each other, everything gets lighter and brighter. I just love the visual palette to this film. I love the colors, the use of shadows. Everything I think is so effective. But also I just really like the story. It's a Santa Claus origin story, and it's got a ton of heart and soul to it. I have this guy Jesper, voiced by Jason Schwartzman, pampered, spoiled, conceited at the beginning, and his father says, look, if you don't go to this town and become the postmaster and deliver 6,000 letters by Christmas, then you are going to get disowned, going to disinherit you. You're not going to have anything. And so he ends up at this town. He doesn't know is this town, there is a deep-seated feud between these two families. And this has stopped them from having a school. This has stopped them from communicating, and none of them know how to read. And so it's just kept them basically really ignorant, this feud between the two of them. And so that obviously isn't going to work for Jesper. He's not going to be able to fulfill his goals. So he starts with these kind of conceited motives. One day, Jesper meets this man named Klaus. And at first he's really scared of him because he's such like a big, imposing man. But the truth is that he's actually a very soft, sweet man, and he is grieving for the loss of his wife, and he's lonely and sad. And but he does have a skill for making carvings and for making toys, and it's something that he did for years, hoping that him and his wife would be able to have a child, but they were never able to have a child. And he ends up getting this drawing from this child. He decides to give this toy to this child. Well, it starts this whole thing with the kids starting to write letters to try to get their own toys, and you get all of the sort of touch bases of the Santa Claus lore in there with the way that he looks, the way that he goes down chimneys, the letters, the naughty nice list. All that stuff is all hinted to, and you see the origin stories of it. It's really cute and charming. And as he is serving other people and making his toys, he starts to finally kind of live again and honor his wife, and is able to kind of move through his grief. And so that's why I say there ends up being this like real heart to the story that you don't expect. There's also this woman named Alva, who is this butcher slash teacher, and she is really tough talking. She's really funny. And of course, her and Jesper come at odds, funny and clever. And I love some of the animation, particularly with Alva, the way that it shows her like dismembering the fish. The voice performance by Rashida Jones is really fun for Alva. She's very funny, and all the voice performances are excellent. Jason Schwartzman, Jesper, you have J.K. Simmons as Klaus, and Rashida Jones, Will Sasso, Sergio Pablos has two voices, which is fun. Joan Cusack is in here, so that's fun. And it's just so nice to see not only the origin of Santa, but also see this town become united again, and put down all of these grievances they've had all this time, forgive, and learn how to read and learn how to communicate better, and how the kids are actually an example to the adults, which is a nice message, that that it's not always the other way around. It's not always the adults teaching the kids, but sometimes it's the kids teaching the adults, which is very sweet. And it's just beautiful. It's it is beautifully animated. The music is beautiful. It's a wonderful holiday film. And I think that it's one that maybe has gotten forgotten a little bit just because it's on Netflix and people just forget things that are on Netflix. But I hope people won't forget because it's a wonderful, wonderful film. I love it. And I really do think it should have won Best Animated Film that year. And it didn't, but it didn't, but I love the story and I love the characters and I love the ties to the traditional Santa Claus mythology. It's really, really heartwarming and well done, and it can be quite funny at times. Jason Schwartzman's character is very sarcastic. It's worth a watch, and I think you'll really enjoy it, and it'll be nice little way to end off Christmas in July. So yeah, let me know what you think of Klaus. I would love to hear your thoughts. We'd like to take a second and thank our sponsor for this episode of the podcast. It's Factor Meals. Warmer, sunnier days are calling. Fuel up for them with Factor's no prep, no mess meals. Meet your wellness goals in time for summer thanks to the menu of chef-crafted meals with options like Calorie Smart, Protein Plus, and Keto. Factor's fresh, never frozen meals are dietitian approved and ready to eat in just 2 minutes. So no matter how busy you are, you'll always have time to enjoy nutritious, great tasting meals. Make today the day you kickstart a new healthy routine. What are you waiting for? With 35 different meals and more than 60 add-ons to choose from every week, you'll always have new flavors to explore. Crush your wellness goals this month with dietitian-approved meals and ingredients you can trust. Make your day delicious from breakfast to dessert. Stay fueled with easy, nutritious options. Treat yourself to restaurant-quality meals that feature premium ingredients like filet mignon, shrimp, and blackened salmon. Keep kitchen time to a minimum. Factor meals are ready in 2 minutes. No shopping, prepping, cooking, or cleaning up. Enjoy effortless support for your lifestyle. Choose from 6 menu preferences to help you manage calories, maximize protein intake, avoid meat, or simply eat well balanced. Head to factormeals.com/hallmarkies50 and use code hallmarkies50 to get 50% off your first box plus 20% off your next month. That's code hallmarkies50 at factormeals.com/hallmarkies50 to get 50% off your first box plus 20% off your next month while your subscription is active. Definitely check out Factor Meals. We know you'll love them. Today, we're continuing on Christmas in July, and we're talking about one of the most underrated recent Christmas movies called The Ghosts of Christmas Past. And I really love this movie. I think that it is such a clever script. It's so well done. I really love the premise of this movie. I think it's so smart. It's about this woman who has been kind of ghosting all of these people online. She'll like spend a couple of days talking with them and then will just stop because she loses her nerve. And she goes to this fortune teller at this company party because she's like totally obsessed with work. And she gets this fortune that she has to make things right with all these people that she's ghosted before Christmas, or she is not going to be able to find true love. So she starts on this process of trying to contact these people that she's ghosted and basically apologizing. And I think that Annie Clark is the big reason why this works because she's a very likable actress, and it is a fairly unlikable character, but like she brings the likability, and I think we can all kind of understand where she's coming from, and have all had our moments of at least being ghosted. We understand the phenomenon, and she's trying to make it right. And so I was fine with her kind of growth as a character and her arc. And what makes it really special is that she starts on this process with what makes it really special is she starts on this process with this guy Charlie that she's been very kind of critical with at work, his work ethic and everything like that, but she starts on this process, and we as the watchers, we find out that he is like the big one that she ghosted, that was named Blinky, and so he starts helping her, and he starts helping her with this process. And as she it just creates a really fun tension, romantic tension, because we all know that he's Blinky all along, and but she doesn't know it. And at certain points, he tries to like hide the fact that he's Blinky. At one point, he has to put his phone into the sink because he doesn't want her to realize that he's getting the messages meant for Blinky. and just there's a lot of physical comedy, fun scenes like that. And I just thought that the script was so brilliant in the way that it built romantic tension between the two. And I don't mind that it has like flawed characters that learn and grow. And I think the script was very funny. It was very authentic. I really even like little details like the sweaters that she wears and like the way that the office is designed, and it's very like Christmassy but authentic. And the fact she's an animator is, I think, fun. She's doing a video game, is like a different career. And I just think it's a really good romantic comedy. There's the side plot with her mother and her trying to find this present for her mom that I think works pretty good, again, to kind of give her warmth and growth as a character. And I think that Annie and Dan had like really wonderful chemistry. I got to talk to Dan about this movie and just how unique and special it is. Well, it was so clever because we as the audience know that you're Blinky and that she had ghosted you the whole time that you're helping her research all these, and make amends with these ghostings, that you're like the big one that she ghosted. And it's like, oh,
Yeah.
and so it builds the romantic tension so well, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. It was good. It felt earned when we finally get together. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I think so. And it's just like a clever idea for a movie, I think.
Yeah, and kind of modern in a way. Not that ghosting is modern, but the term is, and it
Yeah.
more now that there's so much stuff that's being, so many relationships that are happening online or through apps. I guess maybe ghosting is more prevalent than it was. So yeah, I thought it was a great idea.
And I also got to talk with Annie about the experience, and so that was really wonderful. I thought that it was a really fun script. And particularly the whole idea of ghosting, I think is a kind of an interesting one. And I don't know, what did you think about the movie and like kind of what it had to say about ghosting?
I thought it was such a cool sort of change of pace for these types of movies. I think one of the reasons why they're so popular is because we love the tropes and this, the sort of predictable storylines. For some reason, it's so appealing knowing how it's going to go. And although this movie had a lot of the same sort of template that most Hallmark Lifetime TV movies have, I felt like this one had more of a modern spin on it, and not everything was so predictable. And I had a lot of family members say that they learned about ghosting from my movies.
I talked with Shannon Latimer, the writer, and so that was really fun because I think really the shining star is the script in this one. I mean, like, I want to go to this office party. It sounds like a fun time.
Well, I was like, why? To me, I was like, especially in these films, they push for everything to be so Christmassy. Like, obviously, I mean, that's an obvious thing to say, but it's like, the fact that they're like, that made it through in the concept. But I was like, well, we'll make her like a little bit more of a Miss Santa,
It's cute.
But yeah, that was in there. Like, I'm like, the scene was mine, but the concept was there with the snow globe, which I thought was great. I wasn't gonna like, it wasn't my job to be like, I'm gonna change everything. I was like, this is good. Why would I get rid of this? This is great.
That a lot of the Christmas people and Hallmarkies haven't seen, because it was a year that Lifetime decided to do a movie every single day in December. And that meant that the ones that premiered on the weeknights didn't get as much publicity or as much time. And so they were just kind of dumped. And it was a stupid idea. It didn't work. And this is one of the ones that got the short end of the stick when it came to all of that. And so a lot of people didn't even hear about it, didn't know about it. And so if you're one of those people, I think you should definitely give it a shot. I think it is such a well-written, charming, insightful. It deals with sort of modern issues that we think about today. It's a really good little rom-com, good little Christmas rom-com. The ending is so good when he finally reveals that he was Blinky all along, and it's so good. And I really love Annie and Dan in this. I think they are so good, and it's probably my favorite Dan Jeannotte role. It definitely is my favorite of his, and I think he's actually also kind of underappreciated in a lot of these Hallmark and other rom-com, all these people. So in the wrong hands, her character could come off as unlikable. But I thought that they because of the chemistry, as you're saying, and because of the banter and everything, I think it became a well-rounded character.
Yeah. And I mean, in her hands, Annie is a wonderful actor, and you can't help but like her when you're watching her,
Yeah.
And so yeah, it was. I thought that too. It was a tricky character, because I think she's kind of, with all that ghosting and with being critical of my character, I think she just is clearly someone who's got high standards,
Yeah.
And yeah, those people can come off as aloof or whatever, but no, she was great, and we had a really good time doing it. Other than the fact that we were shooting, in winter jackets and toques when it was like 22 degrees.
Yeah. And so yeah, this is one that I think is underappreciated. I really, really enjoyed. And so if you haven't seen it, I highly recommend it. It's widely available. And I'll put a link down if you want to rent it on Amazon. I'll put a affiliate link. You should check it out. And all of the different interviews and other things I've done on this, because I really did love it. Ho, ho, ho. We'd like to take a second and thank our sponsor for this episode of the podcast. It's the Hallmarkies Patreon.
Do you love Hallmarkies podcast, especially at Christmas?
Do you enjoy the holiday previews, recaps, interviews, and bonus episodes?
If the answer is yes, please consider supporting the Hallmarkies Patreon. We need your help to do what we do both during the Christmas season and all year round.
But not only do you help a podcast led by strong, independent women by becoming a Patreon, you get to become a part of the Hallmarkies family.
Starting at only $2 a month as a patron, you will have access to our Facebook Patreon group where we talk about the movies, shows, and more all year.
We also have many monthly patron watch-alongs with guests like Lacey Chabert, Natalie Hall, Paul Campbell, Mary Lou Henner, and more, giving their behind-the-scenes details of their films.
As a patron, you also have the chance to provide input into the podcast and even join us at different tiers.
So this Christmas season, spread some cheer to the Hallmarkies Patreon and become a member today. You won't regret it.
Go to patreon.com/Hallmarkies to learn more.
That's patreon.com/Hallmarkies. The ones that we talked about was this movie last year called Rescuing Christmas. And it was unique because it was on Hallmark Movies Now, because it was 20 minutes too long to be on Hallmark Channel. And I think it actually benefited a lot from that extra 20 minutes. You got a lot more jokes, you got a lot more. And so it's going to be interesting. They're airing it on Hallmark Channel this weekend as part of Christmas in July. And I'm very curious to see what they end up cutting to make it the 80 minutes that's required, because it's 100 minutes on Hallmark Movies Now. But anyway, we'll see what they do. But I really enjoyed this movie so much that I interviewed Rachel Lee Cook, the star, and I also interviewed Sarah Montana, the writer. So I'll try to sprinkle in some of their quotes from those interviews within this review.
It was just such a cute, fun concept. And like, I knew I would be in safe hands too, even though I was, working with Jim and Rachel is just always so much fun, and you guys are so fun to collaborate with, and you just always feel safe, like you can take big swings. Like the first pass of the script, I wrote this smash cut from "You're trespassing on people's minds, you should be in jail," and then I was like, she should be in jail, and then I wrote the jail scene, and I like paced my apartment a little bit, and I was like, oh, we're usually not allowed to do this. I don't know. And I actually Googled, like, has anyone ever gone to jail in a Hallmark movie? And like split it out for a couple minutes. And then
was that fun, like playing the Grinch of the movie?
Oh, it's the best. And it's, as you know better than anybody, Rachel, it's somebody's job to not be as into Christmas as the other person in the movie. And it was nice being that role for this one. I've been more of the like giddy up kind of person about the holiday in past movies, and so it was fun to get to play this Nick in this one.
I also interviewed Bailey Stender, who played one of the elves, and she was so funny. So I loved that. Christmas didn't exist, like we would all be majorly depressed, not just because of a lack of Christmas, but because there would be nothing to break up that
the long winter.
Like,
yeah, the holidays get you through it, honest to God.
So like it totally tracks that the mayor of Duluth with no Christmas would be like, what can we do in December?
Yes,
you know, like,
yes, very accurate. Yeah, that's true. Honestly, it made me genuinely emotional watching it. Like, I was like, oh my God, what would I do without this time where I get to see my family and there's gift giving and lights and stuff.
And I think that's where you get a lot of joy out of this movie, is how funny it is. They really lean into the humor, and also it is just very, very clever. So the idea is this woman, Erin, she's getting frustrated. She's getting frustrated with her life and the people in her life, and her ex-boyfriend eats her cookies and all this stuff. She's getting so frustrated. Well, she ends up with these wishes, but she doesn't realize they're like permanent or anything. She doesn't take it seriously. They're just like these emails that she gets, and she makes a wish that Christmas would go away, and it does. It goes away. And so then the plot becomes, how is she going to reintroduce Christmas to those around her? And I thought they were so clever about that, about how they could how you could introduce Christmas to people without any of the tools of Christmas. So she's making ornaments out of tennis balls and things like that. And I thought it was very clever that they have celebration, celebrate good times. They have that song as the Christmas song. And if you think about it, if you were trying to pick a song that's not a Christmas song that feels kind of like a Christmas song, it's a pretty good choice, I think. I thought that was very smart. He has Sam Page playing this lawyer. He's like the love interest. He's the only one that doesn't think she's completely crazy and is kind of interested in hearing, like, he'll listen to any argument, see if she can make it. And so he's fun, and he's also really funny in working with the elves, with Debbie and Chuck, the elves. Bailey Stender and Patrick Thomas play the elves, and they're down there to try to fix this, and they just get more and more and more frustrated, and he's kind of like, okay, come on. Like, she's getting so frustrated and working with the volunteers, and he's like, these are volunteers, like, we can't get upset, like all this stuff. So it was very, very funny, but also, again, very clever and creative. Really, really, really enjoyed it. I think it's a very, very solid Christmas movie. And also, you've got your romance and you've got your humor. So I think that if you're somebody who doesn't want to give Hallmark movies a shot, this might be one that could actually win you over because of the humor and the cleverness of the script and the good performances. Rachel Lee Cook is always really solid in these roles. Sam Page is very charming, and like I said, all the supporting cast is great. So check out Hallmarkies podcast for all of the coverage of anything rom-com or holiday related or Hallmark related, and please take a look at that. Please check out all of my family movie night reviews, all of my Christmas reviews. I would really appreciate it. Please like this video. Please subscribe to the channel. I appreciate that. Also have the Patreon group, and we are going to be having a watch along this month with Catherine Davis. We're going to be watching Santa's Got Style, which is such a fun movie. So if you want to hear the behind the scenes about how movies are made, like, you can, any level of patron can participate in the watch along. So please check that out. I would really, really, really appreciate it. We have the merch store with tons of festive designs. Take a look at that. And thanks so much, everybody. We'll talk to you later. Merry Christmas.